Hey guys, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. You know, we all know jigsaws are good for cutting wood, but what about metal? Thick metal. Let's talk about it. See you right after this. Now, when it comes to precision cutting power tools, jigsaws are one of the best power tools that you can buy for that. It can cut all types of wood products, lumber, paneling, plywood, hardboard. It can even cut thin metal, like sheet metal. Just check out my first video on how to use a jigsaw and how you can cut sheet metal with it. But I was kind of curious, can you cut even thicker metal with a jigsaw? All right, so when it comes to cutting metal using a jigsaw blade, you have different types of blades. And if you notice right here, you have 11-14 TPI. Now, TPI stands for teeth per inch. If you look at this jigsaw blade for plexiglass, you'll see that the TPI is 13. That means it's 13 teeth per inch, 13 teeth every inch. This says 11-14 TPI. That means the teeth count on this blade is progressive. It starts out at 11 teeth per inch and progressively moves up to 14 teeth per inch. Why is that? Because a blade like this is designed to cut a variety of materials that require different teeth counts, which means it can handle different materials of different thicknesses. And that's what it says right here on the blade. It can accommodate thicknesses from 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. So in terms of 11 teeth per inch, obviously the teeth are wider apart than, say, down at the bottom where it's 14 teeth per inch. Okay, something else to notice on the blade is that the teeth on this thick metal blade are pointing upwards. You notice that? Right? That's called an upcut blade. In comparison to this blade, the teeth on this blade is more perpendicular to the shaft. They're not really pointing up. On upcut blades where the teeth are angled up, the advantage to that is that it pulls the material up against the saw, keeping it more stable, which of course gives you more control and a more accurate cut. Now they do have downstroke blades where the teeth are pointing down, also called reverse cut blades. And the advantage to those is that it minimizes what they call tear out on the surface. So the top surface of your material is more likely to have a cleaner cut than with an upcut blade. Downstroke blades where the teeth are pointing down are harder to control because it's pushing the saw away from the material. Okay, so as stated in my first video on jigsaws, this is what's called an orbital jigsaw. And all that means is that the blade performs an orbital motion when in operation. Now the settings on this jigsaw allow you to adjust the orbital action depending on what type of material you're cutting through. So you have 0, which is no orbit, straight up and down. You have 1, which looks like it's for PVC. Then you have plywood, looks like MDX or composite board. And then you have lumber. And if we switch it to 0, then we have no orbital action. The blade will just be going straight up and down. And that's what we're going to need for metal, just like it says right here. All right, so anytime you're getting ready to install a blade or remove a blade or work on the jigsaw at all, you want to make sure that it's unplugged if it's a corded machine. If it's a cordless machine, you might want to remove the battery. You don't want any accidents to happen. Now, before we install our blade, we have to make sure that the blade support roller, which is this right here, is out of the way so we can install the blade into the blade clamp. This is the rapid change blade clamp. So in order to move the blade support roller out of the way so we can access the blade clamp to put the blade in, we have to turn the orbital adjustment knob to 3. Just watch the blade support roller move out of the way. I'll do that again. Now we can access the blade clamp. Now this is a T-shank blade, and I talked about all of this in my first video on jigsaws. You guys can reference that. But all we have to do is insert the head of the T-shank into the blade clamp. But first we got to pull the blade clamp open and make sure when we install our blade that the teeth are pointing away from the machine. When you install the blade, you want to line it up with the blade support roller, which is this right here that we moved out of the way. And you want to push it all the way into the blade clamp. It's like that. Then let the clamp go. And then tug on it to make sure it's locked in. Just to show you guys the orbital action, I'm going to turn down the variable speed selector to slow down the speed for you. Now the orbital action is more aggressive and more efficient because it's not dragging on the material as it would in a straight up and down motion. It's performing an elliptical orbit after the upstroke. The upstroke cuts the material, moves back, cuts the material again, moves back. So it eliminates that drag as it would with an up and down motion, therefore making it more efficient. But the disadvantage to the orbital action is it produces a rougher cut and more vibration. All right, so the whole point of this video is to see if we can cut thicker metal with a jigsaw. Now I have a piece of Schedule 40 pipe, and the wall thickness is about 1/8 of an inch. Let's see how the jigsaw performs with this. I'm gonna put it into our bench vise, which is what I suggest you use when you're doing something like this. Once again, we want our orbital action to be 0 because we're cutting metal, and you want to make sure that the blade is running at full speed before you contact your material. Don't forget to put your safety glasses on. It's cutting, it's taking a while, but as you can tell inside, you see that white mark in there? It's almost there. All right, we're gonna throw some cutting oil on there. Look at that blade, guys. The teeth are pretty much gone in this area right here. So let's slap another blade in there. All right, guys, it took about 2 blades to do it, but we got it done. Yeah, old RYOBI Jigsaw did it. Hey, if you learned something from the video, hit that like and subscribe. We welcome your comments. Check out the links in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.